in his role in the Independent Police Conduct Authority.
I call the Honourable Member David Clendon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kia ora koutou. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to take a brief call just to support this recommendation from that the Judge Sir David Carruthers should be appointed chair of the Independent Police Conduct Authority. As the Minister has pointed out, sir, only even a very brief resume analysis of Sir David's career indicates he's an entirely appropriate appointment to what is a very demanding, a very important role, and we're confident that he will perpetuate the integrity, the competence that has been displayed by his predecessor, Justice Goddard. Sir Justice Goddard was, of course, the incumbent head of the former Police Complaints Authority. At the time, legislation was passed that restructured, reformed that body into the Independent Police Conduct Authority, which we know today. The Greens are particularly pleased that the IPCA has demonstrated its worth, given that the party, in particular our former MP Nandor Tantros at the time, was a very powerful advocate for the establishment of a genuinely independent authority. It was very clear in the early 2000s, if not earlier, that the existing model was functionally and structurally simply not up to the task of meeting people's reasonable expectations of seeing good, well-organised and well-conducted investigations into the actions and incidents concerning the police and the use of their powers. And I believe, sir, the IPCA has delivered on the expectation that they would deliver and conduct, that they would improve the depth and quality of investigations. And remembering, of course, that they only called in for the most serious matters where there are significant issues of public interest to be considered. I think it's to the credit of the IPCA under the leadership of Justice Goddard that they have on occasion exonerated police actions, have found no blame attached to police actions or decisions made in particular incidents, and on other occasions they have been very forthright in highlighting any shortcomings in police actions. I recall a speech made by Nandor Tantros at the time along the lines of the IPCA is to be a watchdog. There was an expectation it would occasionally bare its teeth, and I believe the IPC has not resiled from doing that on occasion. Also offering very useful and clear recommendations about changes, and it's evident that those recommendations have almost invariably been adopted and taken up. It has been a successful organisation, and I'm sure that under Sir David's leadership it will continue to be so. I would like to take this opportunity just to comment on one issue of the practice of the IPCA, and with all due respect would like to encourage the incoming leader, the incoming chair and his board to consider change in a particular practice of the board to date. It has always been the practice of the board that the investigative teams they appoint to undertake investigations are drawn from police forces both in New Zealand and overseas, typically from Commonwealth countries. It's entirely sensible, of course, that the investigative officers do have significant depth and breadth of experience in policing matters, including first-hand policing experience. I would argue, however, that the work of the authority could be improved and enriched, enhanced in fact, if the investigative teams also routinely included people from professions, from experiences, from backgrounds, from disciplines other than frontline policing. Police Commissioner Marshall has recently talked of effecting change in the culture of the New Zealand police force, particularly in the relation to this new strategy around prevention first, which I would comment as an aside as an approach that the Greens wholeheartedly support. So this talk of culture from the Commissioner recognises that police forces, in common with every other workforce and with every other workplace, does have a particular culture, an underlying set of shared assumptions, of beliefs, of values, of principles. Given the uniqueness of police work, we think it's fair to suggest that the culture of police forces in countries from which our investigating officers have been drawn are sufficiently similar that they would have more points of similarity than they would have points of difference. And while that is undoubtedly a strength that enables a high degree of compatibility, it also potentially is a weakness. We believe that bringing in individuals into these teams who come from different cultures with different sets, different cultural frameworks would enhance and broaden the capacity of the authority to do a very broad and deep analysis of incidents, to bring in different sets of eyes, different perspectives than those that have come from a policing culture. So having made those remarks, I would simply finish with again reiterating that we believe we commend Justice Goddard on a job very well done, and we wish the incoming Sir David Carruthers every success. We are sure that he will continue the work that has been begun by his predecessor and bring considerable regard to the authority. Thank you.